Hello, this is Bethesda, the Dragon of Cyberspace, coming to you with all news, tips, and tricks in the gaming spectrum. And today we have an interesting topic to discuss. No doubt, unless you've been living under a rock, you're already aware that a person was assassinated for wanting to have a conversation broad daylight. This has sparked outrage amongst Americans and people worldwide, but it also sparked outrage when certain people in the gaming industry decided to come out and mock death. Then we have Bethesda supporting the assassination of people with a voice. As you can see here, that Park Place reports that Bethesda tweets and deletes a video appearing to mock Charlie Kirk tragedy. Don't care much about these fascists, do you? In the wake of the tragic assassination of Charlie last week, outrage has erupted over Bethesda, a major video game studio, being accused of mocking his death online. The post in question has been deleted, but as of this writing, Bethesda has not issued an apology or a statement addressing the backlash. This incident marks yet another case of corporate and entertainment figures wading into political territory in ways that risk alienating huge portions of their audience. With Bethesda now under fire over this potential Charlie Cook mockery, fans are demanding answers. The controversy began when a Bethesda producer allegedly posted on X in a way that appeared to trivialize or mock Charlie Kirk's death. The video in question was from Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a game that actually received critical praise for the studio. The first-person scenario on display, Indy pets a cat and says, "You don't care much for these fascists, do you?" And I got the clip right here.
Oh, nice place. You don't care much about these fascists, do you?
Booty shots began circling almost immediately, sparking anger across social media platforms. Bethesda's official account has remained silent, but the post was removed shortly after gaining traction. No apology has been issued, nor has Bethesda clarified where the comments reflected the company's position or were the personal opinions of an employee. The lack of response has only fueled more criticism. Many believe that if Bethesda wants to protect its brand, it must swiftly address what happened, especially given how politically charged the national conversation is right now. For those who don't know, Charlie Kirk is a Republican commentator and founder of Turning Point USA and was assassinated on September 10th, 2025, while speaking at a Utah Valley University. His murder has shocked the political world and generated waves of commentary across the spectrum. While millions of Americans are mourning his death, some voices online have used the moment to gloat or attack his legacy. Comic book writers, game developers, even retail store employees have lost their jobs based on their responses to the tragedy. In Bethesda's case, however, this wasn't a random dev on their personal social media account or some indie studio trying to make a name for itself for the controversy. This is a major video game studio sending out a post that seemed to mock the death of a major public figure. And yes, that's what I've said many times before, that when you work for someone, you represent them. So when you speak up and say certain things, it can reflect the company. But here, they did it for the company's own social media account. So you see the company's logo, you see the company's name, you see the gold check mark representing that it is the official account of that company making such statements. This climate of diverse reaction is what makes Bethesda's alleged involvement so explosive. Fans expect the video game studio to remain above politics, not to celebrate a tragedy that left two small children without a father. Bethesda is known for blockbuster franchises like The Elder Scrolls and Fallout, sits under the umbrella of Microsoft's Xbox division. Unlike independent developers, Bethesda is a globally recognized name and with enormous reach, meaning its public image has direct consequences for the wider Microsoft brand. As Grubbs points out in this tweet, you don't care much about these fascists, do you? Bethesda is, after all your complaints about how some of their devs mocked or celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, has given you their official answer right off their account, instead of addressing millions on burn. By allowing the situation to go unaddressed, Bethesda was alienating a substantial share of its players, many of whom have respected Charlie Kirk or at least believed mocking the dead is inappropriate. In an industry already plagued by political controversies, this flare couldn't come at a worse time. And yes, I've talked about it with Ghost of Yote in my last Leash of Rants video, where I said, yeah, they fired a person, but they never issued a statement. So it felt more like covering their ass. The longer you wait to make a statement, the worse it gets. And Bethesda, unfortunately, is taking their sweet time. Or is the silence merely saying, yeah, we support this and we're not going to do anything about it? This is hardly the first company to face backlash for employees' commentary in the aftermath of Kirk's death. Multiple teachers, artists, and influencers have been disciplined or lost their jobs for making celebratory or derogatory remarks online. What sets Bethesda apart is its size and visibility. The deleted post has already ignited widespread calls for boycotts unless Bethesda issues an apology. Some gamers argue that companies have a responsibility to keep politics out of gaming altogether, especially when dealing with tragedies that should transcend partisan divides. And I agree. If anyone recalls, there was a quote from Michael Jordan back in the 90s regarding his Jordans when he said, Republicans buy sneakers too. In the end, the company should focus on making great games. If you want to unite people, you do so through games, in my personal opinion. I've seen, and I've mentioned this many times, it's one of my favorite stories, is where I've seen an Iraqi and an American, both in the military, sitting down to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Games has the potential to unite people when we don't have anything else in common. I don't watch Charlie Kirk's content much. I've said this many times before, because I don't watch politics. But I do know enough about Charlie Kirk to know that he just want to have a conversation, and he has reached out to the other side. Now, there are people on both sides of the aisle taking advantage of this. There are people trying to take advantage to say we want gun control laws. There are people on the other that say that glorified this death. There are people that use this as a podium to call for more deaths. And then there's people on the other side saying that we will never, ever, ever, ever reach out to the other side ever again, and calling for others to do the same. But the problem is neither side is honoring Charlie Kirk's legacy, my personal opinion, as Charlie Kirk tried to unify. And that's one thing I could share and kind of relate to as well in Resignation. I want people to gamers to forget their politics and just focus on a good game. I think we could all agree that mocking the murder of a father and someone who just wanted to have a conversation with people as wrong. You can disagree with his politics, that's free speech. You can say you're glad he said that's also free speech, though it would be a gross and disgusting trait. But you can't advocate for more violence. You can't call for more violence. That's against the law. That's literally outside the free speech amendment. Because if the courts would like to try and put you on trial for that, they can. As of right now, the Bethesda Charlie Kirk controversy remains unresolved. The offending post is gone, but silence from Bethesda is only making the backlash worse. Every hour without a response gives the perception the company is either ignoring the outrage or condoning the remarks. Bethesda wants to contain the fallout, no pun intended. It will need to clarify quickly whether the post represents the company in an official capacity, and if not, make that clear. Until then, the controversy will continue to spread, and fans will keep asking the question, does Bethesda condone mocking the devil? Kirk? Yes, I agree. Now, a lot of you probably know, I am a huge fan of Elder Scrolls, and I play Fallout games, and I love the modability of it. So I've always played the game at least one time in its original design and intent. But Bethesda games are known to be buggy. They're known to have issues. So when you play it again, you might want to play it with mods to fix the bug fixes because, well, Bethesda's not known for doing that very well. Then you have mods because people try to keep the games alive. It's not Bethesda. Bethesda doesn't keep the game alive when they have Skyrim Special Edition after the Legendary Editions. They don't keep the game alive with DLCs. And they don't keep the game alive with Anniversary Editions. It's the modders who have the passion and love for the game that keeps the game alive. So, that being said, one has to ask the question, how do the modders feel about this? And will the modders continue supporting this game by supplying new mods to keep the game fresh and keep the game going for another 20 years before Elder Scrolls 6? And also being said that, will Bethesda even survive this going forward? But what do you think, viewer? Put your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, happy gaming.
Worlds clash in endless collision. Gaming news with a fierce precision. With a spark so wild it breaks the norm. In the tempest eye, a cyberstorm. Reclaim gaming and Dragon Cast. Fire breathing wide, screaming loud. The Vistro's here to shake the crowd. Psychotic Dragon Ray